Well, greetings, everybody.
Yes.
Just as of this last few minutes here, we just finished the end credits of one of our personal favorite movies.
Almost Famous.
Almost Famous, yes. So yeah, you can start off, Joe. What do you think?
Well, for me, it's a personal thing. It takes me back to my youth and my golden years. So, and honestly, I was analyzing it as much as I do because I've probably seen it 70 freaking times. That it's through and through pretty much an impeccable movie. It's like a roller coaster ride of your golden years, and yeah, it's and the soundtrack is absolutely ridiculous. Is it good? Ridiculously good. Ain't a bad song in it.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts about the movie itself is the soundtrack. Actually, I mean, just like some of my most favorite songs of all time are in that. And then, as we were talking about while the film was on itself, even just the few instrumental moments that are in it as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The actual score, the original score, is a emotionally incredible thing, and the way they use their music and chop the music in this film is it just works so good. Yeah. There's islands with the music that they hit. There's islands that's resolved with certain dialogue that they hit. These guys are hitting it every time they hit it. It's just probably one of the best edited movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I can agree on that for sure. Yeah, I also really like how, as we were saying earlier too, fucking I guess I swore there. No.
What?
I guess I swore there.
Well, what about it?
Yeah.
We can, yeah. We'll beep it.
Yeah, beep it. but yeah, no, I really like how they made the. Like the movie was made in like the 90s, but they made it look like totally like it was like the early 70s, right? Like,
the wardrobe, the scenes, the cars,
yeah, especially
their whole scene, their shoot scenes were just absolutely impeccable. They knew the right buildings to hit at the right places, obviously. San Francisco and New York are old towns, and they obviously did their serious research on that. And that's very apparent too. Like I said, this probably is one of those. Well, this is one of my favorite movies. Definitely top 3. It's one of the most consistent movies on all levels. It hits all levels very consistently. Impeccable, good, really good.
Another little fun fact that I always thought was interesting is the writer and director of this film, Cameron Crowe. He was the one that also did the Fast Times at Ridgemont High in the 80s.
Which is a classic.
Totally a classic.
Which is about golden years of the golden years, right? Which you can see that maybe a little bit of a theme in his writing.
But one of the ways that he developed that writing style was actually when he was like in his early 20s, mid 20s, he actually disguised himself as a high school student and went back to school while secretly in touch with a publishing company, actually writing a book on like high school life.
Method acting.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
Robert De Niro, method acting 101, right?
Yeah.
That's where you get the real shit. Yeah, no, this movie touched base on reality way more than it did fiction, and it was incredible because a lot of the characters are based on certain people that really actually existed. Penny Lane is an actual character that existed. What's that fucking name?
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, right? That character actually wrote for the Rolling Stone and ended up killing himself because he got so depressed about. Obviously, they don't display the actual himself murdering himself, but they say you can see how he's getting depressed in that movie. They actually definitely profiled the fact that he is just pissed off at rock and roll and he's given up on it.
Yeah,
and rock and roll is quite obvious in his life. When you see him in his apartment, it brings me right back to a basement apartment full of fucking vinyl in the 70s. That's how I grew up. I'm an old bastard, by the way. Oh, did I swear? You were beeping. Yeah, I'm an old guy, so you know what I mean? It brings me right back to a whole bunch of different golden years, man. Fucking the best.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I actually first watched this movie when I was quite young. Actually, yeah, it's stuck with me the whole time. Understood it more as I grew up. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like kind of one of those medicine shows. It's just like I have to watch it once a year at least.
Same. Yeah.
It's just one of those. It's a timeless thing because it is based on an era that was pretty much timeless.
And speaking of the soundtrack actually used to be quite widely available at any video store that are around. But
well, yeah, okay, I didn't even know that. But I just always bought the movie instead of having to. I just bought the whole freaking movie because you play it on CD. But yeah, like we've also noticed that the CDs sometimes they edit it a little bit differently, and I thought I seen some inconsistencies with the editing of this particular CD. I thought I was like, oh, I'm sure I seen this or that, blah 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 before. So they do that sometimes. But all in all, after watching it again, it gave me my dose. Gave me my almost famous dose for the year.
yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if I were to give this movie overall a grading, like a school grade from like D all the way up to A plus, I'd probably give this one probably a B plus.
Yeah, well, if I would go to like due to Siskel and Ebert or whatever, if I go 1 star to 5 stars, right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd give this movie a 4.5 stars.
Perfect rating, yeah. Yeah, well, I think that will be our discussion on Almost Famous for tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much for watching, and every week there's going to be a new movie review. Some new releases, a lot of them will be new releases, but we will also venture into some older movies as well that we, of course, we're both movie buffs, so we come here to watch movies all the time. So hopefully you
see it in the theaters too. We got some theaters coming up. We're going to go to some new releases at the theater, and we'll do this after at the theater too.
Yeah, so subscribe to my channel, type it in, and thank you very much for watching.
Adios.